Hello, I'm Jimmy Blackman, and welcome to Six String Talk. Specially prepared for the Woodard Alliance audience. Chris Hendricks asked me to speak at one of the recent meetings, and I said, okay, I'll talk about culture. He said, no, I'd like you to talk about how you use music to connect to the audience. Those that were at Scaling New Heights 2019 may have caught my act in the main stage, where I use my music to connect. He said, I've been playing music since I'm 12, and before 2000, I owned a music school and was a professional music teacher, professional musician. 2000 transitioned my career to financial services. But since that time, I've always used the guitar to think about financial advice, to think about talking about financial advice, to use music to connect to groups, because music speaks right to the soul itself. I can just play a couple of chords, and it puts everybody in a really good mood. But this talk today is really not about me, it's about you. What are you passionate about? What do you love to do, but perhaps are afraid of commingling that with your technical acumen? That's a struggle that I have often. I will often think, will my playing music during a talk to bring up a point, does that dilute in the ears of the audience my ability to deliver wealth management services, succession planning services, insurance design planning services? And I've come to know and deeply understand that people are going to connect with me because they like me. They think that I'm authentic. And over the years, I have been able to bring on clients through my music. I have been able to integrate my music education with the music has a language, and I've been able to integrate that, I think, quite successfully with the language of money. I write a column for a music trade magazine called The Sound of Money, where I'm always using music metaphors to bring up my point. I interview music retail owners so I could relate to them because I was in that profession for a while. So how does one go about, let's say I don't play golf, but one of my buddies plays golf, and he has some very eloquent metaphors that he uses from his passion for golf. So how would one use that? I think just by telling stories. This is nothing new that I'm telling you. You often hear sports metaphors to make a business point. You often hear science metaphors to make a business point. In all walks of life, no matter what your passion is, you're hearing those types of metaphors. I just happen to play music, and I'm able to form it live and give that experience. But I would recommend thinking about what you love to do. Now, why do this? Why risk mitigating your skill set for your particular skill, whether it be accounting, bookkeeping, financial advice? Why risk it? I think in this marketplace, there is so much noise and there's too much PowerPoint going on. And what people will react to at the end of the day is some type of a connection. So you want to use some kind of a language that has as little jargon as possible. And God knows, wealth management and insurance and succession planning, there's tons of jargon. And if I could make that point using music, it's a slam dunk, and there's a sports metaphor I'm putting in. But for example, at the Scaling New Heights 2019 on the main stage, I was making a point where I started playing Beethoven's Fifth. And the point I was making was that in short 4-note motives, Beethoven was able to stitch together an entire symphony. So I made a point that from small things can beget big things. And that enabled me to keep the audience with me. Now, in the days of COVID, when everything is virtual, it's even more important to try to engage and connect to the audience with something you're passionate about. And remember, when you're passionate about it, it's going to come out. It's just going to ooze out. You can't stop it. So just think about what the messaging is, and think about how you can bring that passion into your messaging. And I promise you, your audience, the people that are listening to you, will react positively. Now, when I use music, I'm not using music to impress anyone. I'm simply using music to connect. And it's usually very short passages, right? Very short passages. I would say 90% of the content is, specifically about the business point I want to make. But the sprinkling of those music notes, it's kind of like, it brings you right in. So think about what your passion is. Think about what metaphors you want to bring. And if there are any musicians out there listening to me that want to bring music into what they're doing, let me know. I'm happy to give you a pep talk. I'm Jamie Blackman. You can find me at bhwealth.com.